What's up, Movie Trivia Schmoedown fans? Welcome back to the Call to Action Network. I almost literally just went into the chill to action spiel. Like, I almost just did it. It just natural. I mean, this is a natural spot for me, sitting down right here, talking to this camera with your wonderful face and that queen hat right next to me.
Aww,
this was chill for a second, but it's not.
It is not.
It's called a reaction breakdown match of James White, Frank Moran, and it's me, your girl, Danie Joy, hanging out with Mr. PLD.
It's me. It's PLD. I'm happy to be here. This is really heaven and hell week is what I got to say. Heaven and hell week, because it's heaven because we're getting a lot of awesome matches, a lot of fun time in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, and it's hell week on scheduling, which is why I should point out, like, on our little video screen, our thumbnail is good. Our little video screen did say guest with special guest James White. That was because it was kind of a last minute decision. We were trying to get James White on, but he has a baseball game, and he was going to try to see, because I guess it's raining buckets out there. He was going to try to see if he can make it out if the game got canceled. Well, the gods weren't smiling on us. The game was not canceled, so hopefully James is careful out there in the water, and we'll just have to do it without him. You know what? I got my special celebrity guest here with Danie Joy, so I'm all good with that.
I had no idea that James's name was on the thumbnail, so that might have been my bad. I might have.
No, not the thumbnail, just the video. The thumbnail's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's okay though.
Whoopsie, my bad. Well, it's totally fine. If James wants to choose baseball over us, it's fine. If he wants to have a private life outside of the Schmoedown, it's fine.
Fine. I mean, he did start his career in the Schmoedown on Call to Action, considering how many Schmo-based matches he's played. I think he actually was on Call to Action more than anybody else before they actually made a debut in the Schmoedown than anybody else, I think, possibly at this point.
Who knows? But, I'm so sorry. I have a weird little frog in my throat, so I apologize for that, y'all. We are here talking about the second play-in match of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Singles Tournament, Ultimate Schmoedown Singles Tournament. That's always a mouthful to say. Moving on. Yes.
That's why we do our pregame work through our unique New York.
And this is exactly what happens when we don't do it. Isn't this the first time that I've never done it before?
It is.
Oh, goodness. That's why. I'm so sorry. I really do apologize. That's bothersome for me. Anyways, second match. We're a weird day behind because what we like to do here at the Call to Action podcast is kind of go through the match, look through it, break it down, and really look at it from a fan's perspective to give you the best type of breakdown that we can give you for these types of matches in this league, in this division. Paul and I have been fans of the Schmoedown for quite some time, so we very much enjoy watching the show, and we very much enjoy coming over here and talking to you guys about this show. So
I see it too. I see it too, Saul. I see it too. Look at that hair.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm enjoying it. It's the first time I've ever colored my hair a color other than a natural color, so I'm very much enjoying it. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. I've seen some stuff that y'all said in the chat. I do appreciate it. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, Paul, let's talk about this match.
Fine, let's do it. Let's do it. This has been a long time in coming. I mean, James White is a victim of COVID, so to speak. Again, I mean, he gets drafted in the second round at the draft, and that shocked everybody. Not a lot of people hadn't even heard who he was, making waves right away. But then here it is now. What is it? August. Had to make his first debut until August because of COVID. I mean, I remember hearing a story he mentioned at one point saying that he had a match scheduled that he flew into LA for, and about 20 minutes before he landed, the match was canceled.
Bummer. What a bummer.
He's got a trip in LA. He got a trip to LA out of it, right? Not too bad. Well, I'll miss those now.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Definitely miss flying. I never thought that I would miss airports, but I do miss flying. He did get a chance to go and hang out in the studio and all of that stuff as well, and that's always a fun experience for a fan. But James White coming in from the fan leagues is also kind of a big deal. What we've seen with these fan league players has been pretty intense so far. I think every player that has come in from the fan leagues has been pretty dominant or has shown a good showing with what we saw yesterday with Adam Collins.
Yeah, I was actually very interested to see what this is going to happen because, I mean, we've had champions from the families come up. Obviously, Paul Yama, Chance Ellison, Marisol made her debut earlier today. It was a cool match. But it turns out that it's interesting to see this one specifically because Chance and Paul were all kind of dominant. Robert Parker was a dominant force. James has said himself he actually had some wins, had some losses. So almost like not to decry him in any way, but he's more like I want to say average Joe kind of because he's actually obviously good. He made it to the big league, so to speak. He made it on his merit. But it's interesting to see someone who's not coming out as, oh, they're dominating the league. They're going to be the dominant champion. They're going to be. It's just a good family player who's made it to the big league. So let's see how he can hack it against some of the players in here. So it's interesting to see.
I like that description of James because I've said it before. I'm not the most familiar with the family because I don't know a lot of these players or anything like that. After these last few matches, I'm definitely gonna have to go and check some of these matches out. But I don't know James's hype. I haven't heard any high hype the way that we did with Robert Parker. Robert Parker definitely had some big hype around him. I think even more so than what Paul Oyama and Chance Ellison actually
definitely.
had. So we didn't hear that same type of hype with James, but I think a lot of people were very, very intrigued to see what type of playing he would do being drafted in the 2nd round.
Drafted before John Roca.
Woo!
I'll never let that go.
Dang it, Paul. Yeah, so being drafted 2nd round, Robert Meyer Burnett back when he was a part of the league, going into the Droogs and then being traded
right away without a match being played.
Yeah,
but then he got traded for Brandon Hanna.
Brandon the Hitman Hanna.
Well, so that was a big. Actually, this almost became a must-win just for that reason alone. Because Brandon, even though he's out of the IG tournament, already got the Droogs 3 points with his win over Saul. So he had to have somebody now. If James goes in the tournament and gets knocked out right away, he gets the no points. So technically speaking, the Droogs almost went out on the trade at that point, don't they?
Yep.
So it became kind of almost like not must-win situation, but it is a must-win, especially considering when you consider that the Den has some ground to make up in the standings as well. So they need some people to make some runs in this tournament.
Yeah. Who else does the Den have in the tournament going in there? So.
We have Rachel Silverstream, the Switchblade, and she's going up against Lightning Liz Miller.
Mm-hmm.
We have, this is not an updated list, obviously. I think the play-ins is just the original one. We have Tom going up against Tim Franco.
Nice.
And, of course, Paul Preston going up against Eric Zipper.
The Zip Man.
And that's a tough thing. I mean, Den's not exactly in a great position right from the get-go. I mean, Liz Shannon Miller is no walkover at all. She's actually proven herself to be very, very good. And not the Switchblade isn't, but that's gonna be a tough match. Tom and Tim, as everybody's talked about, as being possibly the match of the first round because they're both very, very good players as well. But either one could really possibly win. And then, of course, Preston versus Zipper. You would think that Preston is probably the favorite, but Zipper's been making some great strides this year. So we don't know exactly where that's going to end up falling into place. So the Den has not an easy road for sure.
No, they don't. But I do believe in the Den. I believe in Kate Mulligan. I think Kate Mulligan is doing very well. It's unfortunate for this match that she's going up against my favorite manager, Winston Marshall. But I do believe in Kate. I think Kate has been doing such a wonderful job for her. Winston and Kate are both first-year managers.
Oh, absolutely.
They've both done an exceptional job with their players and keeping their team together, not only in morale, but just like in making sure that everyone is staying up to date with studying and all of that. Because we know that those managers are very much involved with their team. So it's really good to see them come into their own as these characters, because we do know, like outside, like we do know that they are playing these characters, but they're so good at it and so much fun that you completely lose that, like, you don't feel like Kate is playing this oddball character, and you don't lose that sense of reality with Kate. So that's what I really like about it. And same thing with Winston. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they both made some strides in the beginning of the year. Winston, I remember specifically, I mentioned this before in one of our shows, that I remember specifically when Christian asked Winston to be a manager, he wasn't very convincing. He's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to pick people who I like. It kind of sounded like more like he wasn't not a killer instinct. He was going to go with people he liked, people he gelled with. Kate was the same way. She just really didn't seem like she knew much about the league per se, except for being around it, that kind of thing. But I mean, Winston specifically, I mean, he's turned into be a hell of a manager. He might not have the trivia knowledge that his competitors do at points, but he knows how to get him motivated. He knows how to work with them. He knows how to keep him positive. I mean, that's great. Kate also had some stumbles out of the gate, but she has been another one who's been very phenomenal. She's been taking the heat off of her players, and she's been very good diverting. You got Grace behind the scenes and be that kick-ass, like hardcore kind of like, drives the whip, so to speak. I mean, they both have definitely done well with their faction so far. They've gotten good things out of players that you might not have thought about them getting good. But so that's what good managers do. So I have to give them both credit.
Absolutely. And to speak on Grace really quickly, also, I think she's doing a phenomenal job as well, being that heel. The face of the heel. You know what I mean. Like. Being the heel persona for that team. Yeah. And she does such a good job at it. And I love it. And like, you can feel that intensity even through the damn camera. And it's hilariously awesome.
I agree.
Because it works so well. And she does such a great job at it. So, and I love the dynamic between Kate and Grace also, because they're just complete polar opposites, and it's so much fun to see that. And it's fun to see Winston banter with Kate, because they're both such funny people. So the way that they go back and forth with each other is a lot of fun. Who from Swag do we have in the tournament?
Drip. That's true. We have in the Swag side, you got obviously today's Frank. You got Lon Harris, who's having definitely a resurgent season ever since his turn from the professor into the delinquent. We also have Liz Shannon Miller, the aforementioned Liz Shannon Miller. So it's going to be a second Swag versus Den match. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we got former champ Paul Oyama. So that's going to be another possibility. So they got some good matches. Paul's got to face either the winner of Marisol Abani. We won't talk about that yet because it just aired. And again, we mentioned Rachel Silvestrini is no pushover either. So again, it's going to be an interesting match for her, for the Swag there. And then Lon versus Sabina. I got to figure Lon is heavily favored from what we've seen.
I think so.
But you never really know. So just got my burned off there. There we are. Well, and yes, Saul, I know you are there, Saul. I see you, Saul. I just had for a second, a little bit of a head brain fart. I know. Yes, you fought Brandon Hanna. I get
it. Is that what he's talking about in the chat? He's talking about Brandon.
He mentioned he brought it up that he was right. He brought up that I was right there because I forgot it briefly. I said something about Brandon Hanna beat, and he's like, "Yeah, right here." Of course, yes, Saul, you're always there. But I love you, bro.
I saw. I want to point out something that Ryan Kramer, I hope I'm saying your last name right, in the chat. But as a first-tier manager, Winston also has the benefit of having played the game before, so he has some sense of being in that position, which I also agree with, because I do think that having that tiny bit of knowledge of understanding what it feels like when you're in that position of having to answer a question, going into a round behind or ahead. I'm so sorry. He understands that. So I totally agree. I totally agree with that comment. What do you think, Paul?
I do. I mean, it definitely gives him some knowledge. Absolutely. He's been there. He knows the game, at least at that point. He actually achieved some success with except for the World's Finest. They were close. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, they were close to a championship match at one point. They were like one win away. I think they got beaten by the Shire Wolves, I believe, and that's no knocking. I mean, anybody can get beaten by the Shire
What are you going to do? What are you going to do when you go against the Shire Wolves?
Right? I mean, what are you going to do? So that's one way to do it. So I do think Winston definitely had a little bit of advantage over Kate when it comes to that because he's been there before. Yeah. And he's worked it. That's why he had a little quicker transition than Kate did even.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So I am terrible and did not do the correct homework that I should have done. And I could not find the standings of the match before this match was played. So I'm not exactly sure where it is updated with the standings. And I also between you and us, and no one else ever.
No one else?
Just between you and us, Paul. Feel like maybe the updated standings that are on there are spoilers. Am I wrong?
Well, the ones from today probably are. Let me see. Actually, no, I got one that wouldn't be. I'm gonna share one that wouldn't be. Hold on.
Just between you and I, Paul. No one else.
No one else. There's a spoiler. The one that I get from the Schmoedown team standings are like an unofficial one, but they've been used a lot. So let me see if I can get this one out here. This was after the match. This is after the match from James White and Frank Moran, the one we're talking about. So
okay. We'll hold on to that one because we'll probably bring that up after.
Yeah, I'll bring it up afterwards. That's what we'll do. I'll bring it up afterwards.
That way we can see where these factions are at, because this is interesting. This is what this tournament season is going to do. It's going to turn this around. We saw what Corruption did. Corruption was down the absolute bottom of the standings. And then the Inner Geekdom tournament came, and bada bing, bada boom. There they are up at the top. We'll see what's going to go on with this tournament, because we don't know what could go where and all of that good stuff. Do you have anything else to say about the players, the managers, the factions?
Let's get it on. Let's get into the game.
I was thinking of a different song. Sorry.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I know you singing that to me right now doesn't make it a totally different podcast. Let's somewhere else.
There's still light outside. So I have this random thing in my notes about Kate eating, and I'm pretty sure that just has to do with the banter between Kate and Winston.
Kate, I swear, Kate must only eat when she's got a match coming up.
Yeah.
It's like very and plus Kate also does the best face pauses and all the Schmoedown. Whenever I pause her, she's got the best face silence. But
you can read it. How good is James White? Give me an answer. He's a wizard. Are you kidding me? I tricked that whole scenario. I pretended like I didn't know James White was. I knew who he was. I hung out with him the whole draft night.
I loved actually the fact that Kate called out Christian for
I'm really gonna
talk about the private chat.
For the best single.
Yes, I loved that. I thought that was hilarious.
Kate didn't give him an inch. I also have to call it the Mark Ellis Stanley Goodspeed. Yeah, Eddie reference to The Rock is going to be good for me.
Yeah. You can pause it, Paul.
Over to Winston Marshall now. Winston, when you...
Thank you, sir. Dang it. I lost my dang train of thought. Oh, okay, that's what it was. That's what was so funny for me about what Kate was saying, the joke that she made about putting it in the private chat with the StreamYard. If anyone isn't familiar with StreamYard, there's just a small section that only people on screen can see. And that just felt like a fun little inside joke for people who know StreamYard. Most of us know StreamYard because most of us are doing things online.
Yeah, thank God our private chats aren't public, because that would be just we'd get canceled. And Jake, I did not. You just did. I said The Rock. I didn't say anything about Ed Harris. You just brought him into it. But thank you.
But now, see, you just alley-ooped him, Jake. You alley-ooped him, bud.
That's what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, I love the banter between Kate and Winston, and they have good rapport with each other as well. So it's fun to watch them.
Next up, we had some talk about the comedy section. Of course, I like that new bit. Of course, Nerdcrotic always kills it.
The best.
Nerdcrotic always kills it. We have a little mention when they gets the.
Nerdcrotic can put that in post, I hope.
No, you got to rewind.
I will you further. Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
Oh, wait. Told you these were rough estimate timestamps.
4-3 lead by Bam Bam as we get into our next question.
That's right. And that is in the category of, I've been waiting for this sound, comedies.
Nerdcrotic kills it every time. He does great promos, great editing. I'm loving the fact that every time now, also when everybody swears, he has a little he beeps it, but it has to put up the edited by Nerdcrotic sign.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love that. Those are fun little tidbits that I love to see. Like little, I don't want to call them Easter eggs, but they're fun little nuggets. Because even earlier in the season with the strengths, like player strengths and stuff like that, like when Brett was playing, one of the strengths was like using a cast iron skillet or something like that. There's always that one little silly line that he puts down on it, and I love it. I think it's hilarious, and I think it's it's a cute, fun little thing to play on the game.
That would be even funnier at some point. Ella's waiting for it. Doesn't
Have it, just do it a boo. Just give it a boo.
a boo? Like a miss sounds each time. That'd be kind of funny.
That would bum me out. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That comedy question is one of my favorite little bits that comes on. It's very cute.
Well, let's talk about the third round. Let's talk about the third round.
I'm sorry. Did you say the third round?
I did say it already real quick. I'm trying to skip through, I guess. I don't guess this is what happened.
We see each other every single Monday. On a Thursday, we're together for 20 minutes, and you can't stand me anymore. I hate this.
Wow. You gotta go there, huh?
Wow, I am gonna go there. I do want to go there about one question really quickly, because I have a question for you. You and I are Schmoedown fans. Everyone in the chat, I want you to pay attention to this as well, because I would like your opinion on it, because it's a very silly challenge that I might have done if I was in this match. So the question, I can't remember exactly what the question is. The timestamp that I have on here is 26:04.
Let's play it. I got it right here.
Play it.
Is horror/thriller. Which 2018 film is a spin-off of the Conjuring franchise? Stars Damien Brasher and Tassa Farmiga.
Okay, so no, you don't have to pause it. Let it play through.
I like this. I like that universe. I just want a new one of those.
I'm so sorry.
I don't really like a lot of them, but I still, strangely enough, look forward to seeing them. 5, 4, doesn't make sense. 3.
No, it doesn't.
2, 1. Pens down, please. And James.
The Curse of La Llorona.
Right there.
Correct, okay. Frank.
That's the only part.
La Llorona. There you go.
So now we can pause it.
The Nun.
Regardless of whether the question was right or wrong. Okay, let's say that this question, that La Llorona was the correct answer to the question. So as soon as I saw that board pop up, I was like, there's something weird here. So I had to pause it, and I looked at it, and he spells it completely right, but it is technically 2 words, and both of them start with the letter L. So whenever you look at the way he spells it, if you're looking at it like the second word is capitalized, then it looks like the first letter is an I. But here's where I did my own research on this, because I wanted to see, like, if I challenged it, what would happen with the challenge. So I went to IMDb, and IMDb is the only place that spells it.
Pen down, please. And James.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
IMDb is the only place that spells it that way. But if you go online everywhere else, if you look at the posters, all of the posters are all of the letters are capital. If you look at what James is putting down right there, that is very clearly 2 lowercase L's, which also technically can be the correct spelling of it, because it is Llorona, so which is it's a rolling L.
Can you say that again?
Llorona.
I love when you do that.
Yeah. So, could it be a challenge that you could possibly use? Like, would you use that as a challenge? How would you feel if that was brought up as a challenge? Is what I want to know, in your opinion.
I would say that's definitely more of a one of those momentum stalling and type desperation kind of challenges at this point. If he wrote without a capital L versus a little L, I mean, I think it would be overturned if somebody challenged that, I would think. But I mean, I've been wrong before. We are getting more and more specifically in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny part is, yes, the answer is spelled N-U, because that's the real answer.
That wasn't the point. That wasn't the point. Yes.
Billy, maybe you should come out and speak Spanish. You never know.
Yeah, Billy Belford speaks more Spanish than I do, proper and better Spanish than I do also. So big shout out to Belford in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look at how Belford has it right there. And that's how I would have written it down if I would have had it, if I would have been on the other side of James, and if that answer would have been a correct answer to a question. I would have challenged it. And the only place where it has it spelled like that is IMDb. Every single place for everything else with the movie does not have it spelled like that. Does that challenge hold up to you, Paul?
I don't think that challenge holds up. I think that challenge is one that they're going to say, no, nay. I think a lot of people could, but they brought to your attention. A lot of people might be on your side, or not on your side of it, but might be agreeing with that and go, yeah, absolutely should be, because a lot of people are getting so particular about things. And it's gotten to the point where it's almost like too much in a way. Like,
Yeah.
the thing is, I appreciate a good challenge. I love a good challenge. I even love a good Hail Mary challenge. I don't mind the challenge itself. I don't like a lot of people getting to the point where like they're getting so hung up on it being accepted as a challenge or not. Like somebody like, because like if I saw there's a challenge, I'd go, good challenge. Now somebody, however they answered it, I'd be like, okay, well that's what they said, and let's move on. People tend to start like hammering people for that now. It's like, what the hell? Like, deal with it. It's not a big deal. It's such a it could go either way kind of challenge. You gotta let it go. But yeah, you're right. Or you could do that. Just keep challenging. People do that too. You never know. So it could work either way. So
yeah, as soon as I saw, and IMDb was the first place that I went to whenever I thought, okay, how would I research this challenge? And as soon as I saw it on IMDb, I was like, all right, problem solved. It has it's spelled like that on IMDb. Challenge, no, you lose the challenge. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, all right, hold on, let me just double check. If I really wanted to push this challenge, how far could I push it? So that's when I looked online to see where all the spelling is and all of that stuff. So
good call.
That was just something that I was wondering, because those are little things like that.
Yeah, it's the way of the game now. It's the way of the game. That's what happens. It's a big part for everybody. But anyways, let's talk on the rest of round one in general. The rest of round one ended up being a 6-4 lead for Frank. That's kind of a rough debut. And I think James would even say that as well. He would say that it was a little bit of a rough start to them. Like most, especially in the round one questions, they tend to get like 7, 8. You might miss 1, missing 2. Okay. So Frank was okay, might miss a 2. Missing 4 in round 1 is usually a death knell. Yep. You don't really come back too hardcore from that. So right after that, I kind of got the feeling like this might not be James's day, and Frank might have the knock here. We're gonna find out, but as you never know, it's always what happens afterwards. But both had some misses that I was kind of surprised. Is always the wrong word because it's a subjective thing. But the one's like, I thought I would get that. Thought I'd get that. But it's interesting to see where we go from here.
I agree. Going into round 2, when you've missed 4 questions, can't feel good. That's it. And I think it's because we all know the level of the play of this game. Call to Frogs. Dang it, West.
I totally couldn't. I shouldn't have brought that up, but I had to.
I'm sorry. So I lost my train of thought. Anyways, yeah, I mean, you can't feel good going into that. We all know the level of play where things are at, and especially if you want to have a good showing to the fans, you can't have a game like that. If the outcome of this match would have been any different, a lot of people would have given James some shit about that first round. But well, we all know how the Cinderella story goes. But round 2, in my opinion, is also where the game can change, and where a lot of times where we feel like the deal is sealed. And I'm excited to talk about this round 2 because I think this was an interesting round 2.
This was a very, very interesting round, and I know it's like one of those times where sometimes people get their slice and they get excited, and you go through, you get some good trivia, and then sometimes you get something you don't really want, and you have to work your way through. In this case, we saw that in both wheel slices. Yeah. So it's interesting to see how it goes. Let's take a look at the first one there. We'll take a look at that. By the way, I forgot that you could hear the video when I was still like going through things. Oh, okay. Which is why when you were talking earlier, I was like, wait, she's hearing this, isn't she?
Yeah, well, did you learn how to mute your mic? Like, you haven't done this.
No,
I'm just joking. That's what it really mean. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Before we get into it, okay, keep that screen up, but keep it paused right there. I want to ask you a couple of questions about this beautiful wheel. Now, the digital wheel and I've said it before, I've said it 1,000 times, we have a very rocky relationship. I don't care for the digital wheel, but I also love this new one. I'm very much in love with this. So the categories that are on this wheel are horror, Frances McDermott, Opponent's Choice, 80s, SNL, Dwayne Johnson, comic book movies, sports movies, Spinner's Choice, Nora Ephron, Ridley Scott, and new releases. Is there anything on this wheel that sticks out to you?
Oh, well, before the match started, I would look at this wheel and go, okay, sports movies, regular, spinner choice, obviously. Nora Ephron, newer slice. People are, I think we have somebody guessing here.
Okay.
A little bit of El Jefe in the house. We need somebody who actually spoke Spanish. That's what Billy does for us. He's our Spanish.
Hola,
He's our Spanish
amigos.
announcer.
Hola, ¿cómo están todos? Estoy aquí para mi gente, para la raza, para hablar español a todos. ¡Qué bueno! Estamos en el segundo. What's up, everyone?
The call back to Spanish announce table. Call back to Spanish announce table.
Call to
This
action
season
en
2 of
español.
Schmoedown.
It's hilarious. Oh
How
my
you
God.
doing, bro?
Okay, Bill. Billy, welcome. It's always good to have Billy on. So,
What's
Bill,
up, everyone? I'm
thank
excited
you.
to talk this crazy match.
yeah, so we're talking about the wheel slices. And if you didn't hear, did you get to hear what the slices on the wheel were?
You're looking at them right there.
I mean, you can see them.
Yes,
but you
yes,
can't-
I did. Yes,
Okay.
Okay, so I was answering. I was saying the ones that
it's
surprised.
a weird wheel.
It is. Nora Ephron was new, but definitely doable. SNL's been. We had SNL before at one point, but not very often. I love Ridley Scott. I always love having Ridley Scott wheel. The Frances McDormand. I don't think we've seen that one yet. Am I wrong on that?
I feel like we haven't, because really the three that stuck out in my mind specifically were
I don't
Nora
think so.
Ephron, Frances McDermott, and Ridley Scott. Those were the three that I was like, oh, interesting.
Right. But yeah, Billy, what do you think?
We had Nora Ephron in the title match in Atlanta, right?
Yes, that's the Ben Bateman one. Yeah.
Didn't somebody get Nora Ephron in the title match in Atlanta? Yeah, Bateman got that. Yeah.
Bateman got it. And did well
I
with it.
mean, SNL's tricky. Ridley Scott's one of those tricky categories this season, because if it was like old Schmoedown, where it's like just Ridley Scott movies that whatever he's directed, like, okay, it's like not that many. But when you factor in all the stuff that he's produced, like, or written, like, that's where it gets tricky. And I think they're already starting to throw curveballs in those sort of wheel slices of, oh, we're going to throw something he wrote or something he produced or something he did the score for somehow or something like that, like random, like it's a Ridley Scott movie. Sure, he was second key grip on this movie in like 1972. Like,
I'm starting to expect a Tony Scott question to Ridley Scott because it's his brother,
well,
It's just
he produced most of Tony Scott's movies, so I
that's
mean,
true. That's part of it.
you
Yeah,
could get
that's
a lot of
true.
Tony Scott stuff.
there you go.
That's the
So
closest
what's
we're going to get to a Tony Scott wheel slice.
What's
Unfortunately.
interesting to me is when you see certain slices like this, more than like someone could have possibly picked this slice. Were one of these competitors, did they feel good about Nora Ephron? Did they pick the Nora Ephron to be up there? Who put Frances McDermott up there?
Yeah.
Those types of those things that go through my mind whenever I'm looking at what's on the wheel and who's playing. What slices could this competitor have possibly picked out? That's usually what goes on in my brain. Excuse me 1 second. I'm gonna let y'all talk. 1 second.
No, drop and go.
I'm surprised we didn't get a Disney or an animated slice, because I know that's like James White's like claim to fame is Disney movies, specifically, but also just animated films in general, which will come into play later in the match.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was surprising to me. Again, it's like I could not tell you who picked what on this crazy wheel. Like,
Yeah, I kind of feel like Frank Moran put comic book movies on there. I feel that way, but I'm not positive.
I think so too. Like that seems like something hit, and I think maybe he's a horror guy, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
That's what I always wonder about too. I don't know any of this. This is speculation, but maybe James put horror on there. I don't know James's history at all, but horror seems like one of those categories that can be deep cut, but also it's like there's so many movies that there's a possibility of a lot of surface level questions in there as well.
and I almost wish we could find out later on. I almost wish that was part of Schmoedown. He had to go like James put these two on, Frank put these two on and use the rest of the regulars. I know they have to keep it to the close to the vest for strategy reasons. But at the same time, like it's not like the other team doesn't find out. So everybody's gonna find out like within the Schmoedown. Like I said, strategy you want the Schmoedown people not to worry about, to want to know about it, not the audience. And if you say like so Frank puts up horror and comic book movies and say, you now know that James White and the Den all know that Frank Moran put up comic book because he's going to tell them. You know what I mean? So it's not something that's going to stay that close to the vest for too long. So I almost wish we would just kind of go out there and go publicly, this is the slice I'm putting up. This is the slice I'm putting up. It could almost be like a pregame kind of thing in a way. You could have like a boxing match or you have like a weigh-in or something. You know, these are my two categories I'm putting up or something like that. And you can say that. It's kind of fun to see that kind of happen on display. What was that, Billy? You broke. Oh, maybe frozen.
Uh-oh.
Do they for sure tell the other team what they picked? Like, I don't like. I'm frozen.
I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure on that.
I don't know that for sure.
I thought they did.
I have no insider trading on that information, y'all. Sorry about that.
Not. I don't think if they do, they shouldn't, because they should just be like, these are the categories of the wheel. The other team could have picked whatever, you know, like.
Yeah.
No, but if that's the case, then I would strike that down. That's true. I would keep that. But it doesn't strike the fact that I still would love to know myself.
Yeah, and that's always. Right. I mean, that's my favorite. One of my favorite questions to ask. We'll get to it in round 3. It's like, what are the numbers? And anytime that I've asked those questions to people, what I've slowly come to realize is people do have strategies for picking their numbers, and I haven't cracked that code yet, but I will. I'll figure it out.
You will. You will someday. I have faith in you.
Thanks.
So, right, let's watch this. Watch the Will Slice as it goes down, because something goes on in it. Of course, we have
This is this year from the writers that were working hard here, and we see.
Yeah, shout out to the writers.
We got 60 more seconds.
Shout out to the writers
here if you want to.
Frank did not put horror on the wheel, obviously, because he spins away.
Yeah.
He spins away from it.
I mean, it's up to you, brother. We know what the stuff that we want to do. It's up to you about if you feel good about this. That sounds like a no. I think it's.
I love that.
Winston killing right there.
I loved that.
You know, I gotta say,
I'm gonna weep openly.
Manager's call during the wheel with on the action shot, whether they should get away, and like, you know, in the moment, there's a lot going on, and we have a plan. Do we do the plan? Oh wait, I'm good. Wait, what about the plan? No, it's like. It's crazy.
Well, what's interesting also to me was like on the Action Guys when Smets and Kaiser were on, they mentioned this too. Where Kaiser said he was different. It's different from being the studio than it is in online, because in the studio he just like come around him, put his arm around, and go, "Okay, kid, what do we got?" And like they'd be able to have that kind of like physical. They feel it. They know what's going on with each other. This is kind of more of like a touch and go. So yeah, this is more of like a touch and go kind of situation. But what I love about it. Andrew Guy, who's going to make a phenomenal manager. I think Andrew Guy, when he retires, he's going to make a phenomenal manager, because he is. Yeah. He said on that show, he goes, when I'm a manager, I'm going to go to war with my player. I'm going to make them challenge everything. And like he would come up and go during this thing, there would be no hesitation to be like, what do you know what we want to do? You're gonna fucking do it, and that's it. He's gonna take control of it. He's not gonna. He has no choice. Frank Moran would have no choice in what he took, because he was like, we talked about this already. This is what you're taking. I mean, that kind of thing. But like, almost a manager needs to do that, because I think the player, they kind of get a little hesitant about things. Manager is there to keep him in down, and that's what Winston just did in a way. He's like, because he heard that, and he's like, nope, I hear that, we're going again.
But he also allowed him to take that time to do it. As soon as Winston heard the hesitation is when he was like, all right, we'll do it. But he still gave him the opportunity. And if anyone, shameless plug here, go and check out the match breakdown of the Adam Collins, Andres Gallego match. Yesterday, we had Andres on with me and Kelsey, and we talked about that, because the initial plan on the wheel was not to choose the inner geekdom slice. That really wasn't where they were going for at the beginning, but Kaiser did allow him to feel what was best for him, and that's what we talked about on that show. Also, we talked about managers allowing their players to have this sort of freedom to move about where they need to. So go and check out that episode and give it a thumbs up, all of that good stuff. Comment on it and let me know about the manager talk when you. I love
Andres. It's
interesting also, because when you're in this situation, when you go first or second, can really change how you pick. Because Andres, I think it was Andres, he went second, right? And Adam Collins really didn't have like a very good second round. Like he was within, he had got movie release dates, and unless you're like Ben Bateman or Scott Mance, that's not a strength for anybody. And
I think
he was in a good position, and he should have spun away to something he was definitely like I need if I get a good category, I can win this match. Especially because Adam Collins was like on it. In this situation, you're going first. You're kind of like, oh, I'm in the lead. This guy's been kind of weak. I can just answer questions and I'm fine. But Winston smartly moves in and is like, no, like this, you're clearly not. He asks, it's funny. He asks him, how do you feel? And the reaction is, which clearly means not good. So let's move on. Like,
although I will say that, funnily enough, the best laid plans of Vice Men didn't work out in their favor.
That's
considering that he goes in there and starts saying, "Oh, please don't be Francis McDormand. I'll shit my," whatever he says. And then, sure enough, he says that out loud. He wills it to the gods. And what happens? We get Francis McDormand.
Well, that damn digital wheel is a feisty ass bitch over there. So of course she's gonna pull some bullshit like that.
That is true.
I'm sorry. You all know how I feel about the digital wheel.
It's a beautiful wheel. Just ask Andrew.
If he had respun from Potter, there were like 6 things he felt good about and like 3 that he was iffy on. So it's good odds.
Right.
This is even better odds. There's probably one wheel slice that he doesn't want. Like, it's Francis McDormand. Again, he's happy with it over Francis McDormand. You have really good odds to not get it. That is a bitch, especially the digital one. She's like the bitchy cousin of the already bitch. It's like the sequel where they have like a cousin as the bad girl, and she's even bitchier than like the original girl in the first one. Like, that's the digital wheel. Like,
that's true.
Yeah. She's a feisty little bee. Right, I'm so sorry that there's so much cussing that you
thought that first wheel was a bitch.
Are you apologizing for? Well, I guess we're supposed to keep the cussing down a little bit.
We're trying. We are trying.
This Moran is a family-friendly affair, so we're doing our best.
Wait, I'm just talking about female dogs. What are you all talking about?
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
We want Christian's daughter to be able to listen to us.
All right. So Frank Moran goes in there, spins away from Horror first, spins Francis McDermott. Gets first question right, goes to multiple choice for the next 2, gets both of those right, goes to multiple choice for the 4th one, gets it wrong. James White gets that steal, so that's gotta give James a good little,
very important,
a very important steal and a good little morale boost. At this moment, like he's low. It's his debut match. There's got to be he's got to feel some pressure on him coming in from the fan leagues and all of that stuff. So that little steal has to be a good bump in his
I think a big time necessary. I mean, you come out around, like I said, what we talked about before, you come out around 1 with the 4 points. You need to get some kind of steal, some kind of momentum, because otherwise you're on those rubbery legs. You're starting to you're getting ready to be knocked out possibly if you don't do something quickly. So you got to bob and weave a little bit. He gets that steal.
He needed Frank to have a round like that.
Right.
Like, he needed Frank to have a round like that. Even with the fact that he only got 4 points.
Right.
From 3 questions and then only on the last question.
Right. Gets 1 point back. And that's what he needed. He did.
Because if he gets 6 and then he steals, he's still down by a lot.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. So after the end of Frank's turn in round 2, the score is 5-10, 5 White, 10 Moran. And then this is James' spin. We're going to go in. Anything about that particular part of the round, guys?
No, that's good. That's pretty much good, I think. we're good to go.
I also think that James might be happy that he took Francis McDormand because now it's off the board. So
yeah, that could be too.
Spend that. I also think he doesn't want anything to do with. So
how did you all do with it?
Yeah, however,
I did okay. I think I don't remember.
Perfect.
I think I went 3 for 4. I think it was.
I think
you always go 4 for 4.
Got the first question right. I can't remember all the questions.
Really always goes 4 for 4 as long as at least that's what he says on there.
That's great. And no one can prove me wrong.
That's true.
I didn't watch the match before I played in the play the tape. Play the tape.
All right, play the tape. Here we go.
Is ready to go. Here's the spin.
Son of him.
All right, look at this thing go round and I like those Francis McDormand questions. I like those movies, as a matter of fact.
And
so there we go. We got comic book movies.
Comic book movies. So here's 60 seconds to decide, starting now.
So now this makes me think.
I mean, there's better things on the wheel. There's worse things on the wheel. So what do you think?
I'm comfortable enough with it, but I think that there's some better things
Let's
out
go
there.
for it.
Let's spin it again.
I'm having the
All right.
feeling
That's right.
after Lamore, I'm having the feeling like he picked sports movies on the wheel. That's what I'm thinking too.
It's like
Yeah,
I'm
I
in
wouldn't
Toys R
be
Us and they
surprised.
just released all these new
I've
toys.
seen his tweets.
Nora Ephron. All right, so Nora
And then we
Ephron
get Nora
is-
Ephron.
And we're
And that's the face right there.
Here.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
bring,
the face of the feet
back
right there. He's
Frank.
thinking,
And
that's
Not-
the face of, man, I should have kept comic book movies.
Not too thrilled with Nora Ephron.
I like Nora Ephron, and I don't think I would feel comfortable with that wheel size.
No, it's one thing. It's not those movies that it seems like a lot of them kind of blend together in terms of like there are a lot of rom-coms in there. They tend to have similar characters. I know, like I got Sleepless in Seattle confused with some other things at some points. I mean, so something is if you studied for it, you've gone for it, then you're fine, and that's what Bateman did in Atlanta. But if you haven't really studied for it, there's a lot of overlap that tends to make it difficult, I think.
It's interesting also that you mentioned Bateman, because I think if we're going to see in a minute here on one of the questions, if he uses the Bateman strategy of I'm going to take the full 15 seconds to answer the question, I think maybe he gets a question right, because there's a question he answers like right away, and I think if he thought about it, he wouldn't have answered the way he did. But we're going to see in a second.
James is
All right, we'll let it go for now and find that question.
Mark's gonna ask you-
Well, we can talk over when we get there though.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I do think also another thing people need to think about is we know who the question writers are, right? We know it's PJ Campbell and it's
Happy Friel and the whole team. You have a
But
team.
those are
but,
the
yeah.
two kind of main ones. I don't think either one of them are necessarily like huge Nora Ephron fans, so you might not get the deepest dives on a Nora
No,
Ephron
do it.
question.
That's definitely a Bateman strategy.
Well, I do
Look at
know
PJ Campbell's.
PJ Campbell has been. I've seen a tweet where PJ says that he's watched When Harry Met Sally like at least 4 times in a row. So.
Right.
He does
which
like
is
that
fine.
really good.
That's,
Really crisp.
that's also a comedy classic. Like he's gonna like. That's more likely for him to like than maybe some of these other like obscure Nora Ephron movies that you're not necessarily maybe get.
Yeah.
Don't we get 2 Sleepless in Seattle questions in this?
Yes.
Yes.
We get 2 questions. We get 2 Sleepless in Seattle questions. How is that? Like that would never happen in like comic book movies or like a lot of these other categories.
Nope. That's how I feel about that specific category as well. There's definitely possibility for overlap like that. But I do think that they were both 2 different types of questions. So even though it was technically about the same movie, I do think that it's 2 different types of knowledge for those 2 questions.
I mean, well, yeah, because one is like the answer is that movie, and then the other one is like they talk about the movie, and then you need to know something from the movie. So I agree with that, but it's 2 Sleepless in Seattle questions.
Yeah.
Nora Ephron's done more than that. Come on, guys. I don't think that if you're like the question people, like if you're the host and you like look at the document and you see 2 Nora Ephron questions, 2 Sleepless in Seattle questions on there, like I would be like, no, let's get a different question maybe or something. I don't know.
Frank just got a steal there. It kind of nullifies James's steal, but at the same time, it still was more of a momentum thing than anything. But this was definitely a possibility where James is like, okay, I gotta get these last 2. I gotta hit these last 2, or else I could be in real trouble.
Yeah.
So he gets to this one. He's pulled within 3. 1 question left. If he hits it, he's within 1.
That's fine, right?
That's being down 1 heading to the last round. It's like a coin flip basically.
Safe space. That's the safe space.
And this is what you're talking about.
Question, I thought if he takes his time, a little more time, maybe he gets to it.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, he goes right into it. And it's the fiance from You Got Mail. I believe it's the one he answers.
That is correct. Yes, he's in You've Got Mail.
And that's what I mean by overlap. Those kind of similar type movies. He just went quickly and
Right.
go and look at him. Look
Tom
at
Hanks
James'
and
face
Meg
right
Ryan,
there.
both of them, but Greg Kinnear plays a much larger role in You've Got Mail than Bill Pullman plays in Sleepless in Seattle.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But James
Bill
knows
Pullman's
it.
only
He
really
knows
around in the
afterwards.
first half of the movie, and then that's it. Like he's kind of disappears.
Yeah. Okay, pause
Now-
it real quick, Paul.
Yeah, here we are now. 13-8 going into the final round. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was like, this looks like a long shot. I almost counted. I pretty much all but counted these out at this point, to be honest with you. 5 points is not overwhelming overwhelmingly able to get through, but it's a tough road to travel. And especially when James has not had a great match. He's had a couple of checkdowns. He had the 4 points in round 2. He's got 8 points going into round 3. So that's not indicative of you having a dominating match. So to have 8 points and then have to come back from 5 points, I thought that might be a bit of a stretch. So I was pretty much saying that Frank was going to win at this point. That was my thought process at the moment.
Mine was at that point. I thought the match was over for James. I completely honestly thought the match was over for James. 5 points is definitely something that people can come back from, but with the way that James was playing in the match already, I didn't think he was going to be able to come back from that. That's just me personally. Again, this is also not having seen any game tape on James. This is my first time seeing him play in a match. So that I don't want to say performance because it makes it sound like he did a bad job. He didn't do a bad job. He did well. It just didn't get to answer enough questions, or didn't get to answer enough questions right. So I at that point, I did not think that he was going to come back for it. So getting into this next part was really crazy for me. Billy, how did you feel getting ready going into round 3?
So historically, like 5 is tough but doable.
Right.
6, it's like 6 is kind of also tough but doable. It's when you get to 7 and 8 that you're like, you need a miracle. It's like the longest of long shots. You know he's going to have to hit his 5-pointer to win, more than likely, because if he hits his 2 and you only hit your 2 and your 3, you lose. So, and you got to expect at this point in the Schmoedown, you expect almost everyone to hit a 2-point question. So if he goes clean sweep, then that's going to force him to at least hit his 5 to win. Otherwise, we'll go to overtime, because then he'll get 2 and his 3. And who knows, maybe something crazy will happen and he'll miss his 3, because people do miss 3-point questions, because sometimes there's some tricky 3-point questions that some people think are 5-point questions and other people think are 3-point questions. It's that gray area. So if you're not feeling great, but you're not feeling out of it, or you shouldn't feel out of it. You just know. But again, it's like it's one thing to be down like 18 to 23 and you're down by 5 because you've answered a lot of questions right. When you only have 8 points, you haven't answered a lot of questions right to build any sort of confidence that you're going to hit a 2, a 3, and a 5. So it's rough, man. I thought it was over. It's like when he misses Greg Kinnear and doesn't get 2 points, or Bill Pullman and doesn't get 2 points there. That was a rough little swing there, and
but that's why they play the game.
Again, if he hits that, he's down by 1. By missing it, he's down by, and him stealing it, he's down by 5.
That's a big swing.
So all the momentum is now gone to the other side. Now, I do think one thing that kind of like helps here is the other guy has all the momentum, right? Frank has all the momentum at this point, but he's got to wait now. He's got to wait for him to answer his 2 and his 3, maybe even his 5, before he even answers a question. So
I wonder if Frank actually almost I mean, I don't want to jump in anybody's head and like I'm not accusing him. I wonder if he jumped in there and said like, "Ooh, 5 points, okay," and kind of let his guard down a little bit.
Maybe, but I mean,
sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens. Like you get something, you're like, well, he's got to answer a lot of questions now. I might be okay.
Are we going to watch the questions, or are we just going to talk about the questions?
You can watch it.
So really quickly, going into, we'll skip it to the 40 mark. So he does, unless you all want to watch the first question, but the first question he gets sports. He picks James picks question number 12, gets sports, gets it right, and then he goes into his 3-point question.
40 points or so,
which was number 2. It's at 4. It's at 40, or it might be like 39.
Got it. All right. Yeah. Okay. So he gets his first question right, which was sports. You said, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So before you get into that one, his 3-point question is really interesting because it's a Schmoedown favorite, and it's a fun little thing that's happened in the Schmoedown. But also, what I did see, I wasn't, unfortunately, I did not get to be in the chat as much as I usually am for matches to kind of see what's going on in the chat and what people are saying, kind of keep up with what people are thinking about it. I did see a lot of people. This was the one part where I was in the chat. I saw a lot of people saying some stuff about the specificities of this question. But
specificities.
Yeah, well, however you say words. I don't know how to say words.
Specificities.
How do you say it in Spanish? How do you say it in Spanish?
That's the new word of the day. Congratulations.
Tú sabes, huevón.
Thank you, gracias. So, I wouldn't. I especially for you all being sports guys and kind of understanding this, I want to get your opinion on it. But also, that's just stupid. If anyone would have actually challenged that, that would have been as stupid as
Well,
my.
what were they talking about the specificities? Like, what
It
was
was a cornerback versus a linebacker. I think the question said linebacker, and Ryan Gosling was a cornerback.
No, Ryan Gosling is a linebacker in that movie.
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't
remember either.
If
I don't
someone
remember.
thinks he's a quarterback in that movie, because he specifically says his father, who's complaining while the little girl, Hayden Panettiere, is yelling at him, he said he's a starting linebacker for him, and he made all conference 3 years in a row. He's a linebacker. Whoever thought he wasn't, you're wrong, you losers. You stupid idiots in the comments of the premiere are morons. I hate you all. Okay. Moving on.
Really tell us how you full Belford on that question. Who does remember the Titans? Billy Belford remembers the goddamn Titans.
I just remember the Schmoedown chat of people trying to sound smarter than they actually are, and it's like, and I hate it. It's one of the things that I hate so much.
Some people do. They take it. Well, some people take it so serious. It's not even like a. We should take this Schmoedown seriously. Obviously, it's a big thing. Christian's making it a huge deal. So I don't want to say taking it seriously is not a good thing, but there's definitely a part of taking it too seriously in a way, and it's shown up. It shows up in the chat every once in a while and here and there, and it's just like you got to have some fun. You got to have some flexibility in it. You start getting too serious about things, it kind of takes away some of that kind of like freeness to it, which gives it a little bit of love, gives it a little bit of energy to it. I think I like that aspect of it. I like being able to sit there and have fun with it instead of worrying about specific things like that to the degree of that.
I mean, the good old days. The good old
Again, it's fine to be like it's all about tone and it's how you say things. Like it's fine to be like, hey, I think he's a cornerback in that movie, and that's the way to put it. It's the people who said actually he is a quarterback. That challenge would be so dumb. It names the character. It names like it's who is this character? Who plays this character in Remember the Titans? That's like they're trying to give a little color to the question. They're trying to give a little flavor to make the question more interesting, as opposed to just like who plays Alan Smith or whatever his name is in frickin' Remember the Titans. And that's a more colorful question.
I feel like a lot of there's some a small minority, a minority of the audience, a loud minority sometimes, that like is now looking for things that they can harp on, and part of it might be to appear smart. They're looking at things like, okay, I gotta jump on that. That's something I can jump on. Like almost waiting to jump on things in a way. It's like kind of like don't kill the atmosphere. Love it.
It's an extension of the players, because the players will like say things about questions and they'll question questions, which is fine because they're the competitors. They're in the moment. They're the ones competing, and they have that allowance to do that. You're just sitting at home as a fan. It's not you don't question the rules of the NFL when you're sitting at home. Like, this isn't golf where you can call in and say somebody did something illegally. That's happened. Waiting for that in a Schmoedown live event. Waiting for somebody to call, like somehow get a hold of someone's number and call in and be like, "Hey."
Christian just got a text from Joe Schmo 35. Who the hell is this?
Actually,
okay. Well, let me change it.
Blah 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 blah.
It is Ed Harris. Okay,
so what's gonna happen is you're gonna be like, we're gonna see Kaiser, and he's gonna get like, Paul says I should challenge this. Hey, challenge.
PLD says challenge.
Hold on.
That's how we're getting to. That is where we're getting to now. Hopefully people will take that to heart. I'm not trying to harp on anybody, but let's just have fun, guys. Have fun and not make it too much of the.
Now, there is something that happens. I think it's this match, and it's later. It's the last question of the match, and there's an interesting thing there that I want to look at and ask you about when we get to it, because it's a very interesting thing.
Okay. We do have we want to. If Danny's coming back now, let's do the 3-pointer. Let's just watch it and see what happens. Ready? Go, Dan. We're going to play it.
Let's do this.
What future 2-time Academy Award nominee plays linebacker?
That's where it is.
Alan Bosley in Schmoedown favorite Remember the Titans.
I'm surprised they didn't say in the chat. Oh, it doesn't say Schmoedown favorite in the question. Oh, challenge it. It doesn't say in the question challenge.
Ryan Gosling.
Right.
3 points. James White has tied the game and avoided the.
James is the only one in the Schmoedown to
Who's
remember
the
that.
Now he
most
bounced
famous
back to
person from the
Frank
movie
Moran,
besides Denzel
who
Washington? That's the
chose.
question.
Category
Pretty much.
number 5.
Yes, he did.
Now, this
George.
Frank
He
is
went
his first
5,
2-point
10,
question. Yep.
15, just like
Right,
Dollar
yeah,
Bills is up for
it's
15, of
two-pointer,
course.
yeah.
And he is selected coming of age movies for his 2
Which, again, you
question.
expect-
to
At
give
this point,
him
you expect people to
a
get
possible
2-point questions.
lead.
So.
And so, Bam Bam, your question for the lead. In what 1973 George Lucas
And it's a
film
simple one.
was-
Yeah,
did
it
you
is.
find the stars Ron Howard?
Basically,
Harrison Ford,
what
and
movie
was
besides
like-
Star Wars has George Lucas done successfully?
It's an all-time
It's funny
great,
because
and
2
now
years ago,
Bam Bam,
before
who
I
could be an
started,
all-time
or
great one
3
day,
years
is
ago
back
before I
up by 2
started watching
questions.
Schmoedown, I
Frank
never would have got that
has
question
made
right.
James
But now, and I've
answer
still never
his
seen
next
that movie.
That's right.
But
James
I
White
know that
needs to hit his
answer
5
because of
in
Schmoedown.
order to bounce
We're
it back
watching
to
Schmoedown, you just
Frank
know
Moran
answers.
and give himself 18 points here should he hit.
Now, this is a
James,
big,
you chose
big deal
category
question, obviously.
Mhm.
This is a
Number
tough
8.
question, too.
Yeah.
This is a really
World
hard
of
question.
Anime.
Unless you're just a
world
super
of
fan
animated
of this
films.
film.
Here we go.
Because not only is it difficult, but it's not a difficult. I mean, it's a difficult name to pull. She's not like a
All right,
household.
5-point question, James.
I mean, she's a famous actress. She's been in a lot of
Who
stuff,
voices
but she's not like
Sally,
she doesn't roll off the tongue like
Jack's
actresses
love
do. You know what I mean? Like there's some
interest
actresses you go,
in
oh,
A
Julie
Nightmare
Roberts,
Before
oh,
Christmas.
Helena Bonham Carter.
And also, it's
It's like-
not like just her straight up voice. She's doing an affectation
Yep.
of her voice. So it's
Yep.
not like it's Christopher Walken, and you can just be like, oh, that voice, oh, Christopher Walken.
Right.
5,
She's doing an affectation.
4,
Like
3,
Here's my
2,
thing with it. Okay,
1.
right
All
there.
right. Good. You
GTE
got it
rule
just in
on
time.
it, and
Who
and
voices
he uses all of his
Sally,
GTEs, which
Jack's
is
love
it's a
interest
5-pointer,
in The
completely
Nightmare
understandable, totally
Before
shit.
Christmas.
Now, I'm
Right.
gonna need a refresher on something in just a second. But if in the post-match interview, James White says that Catherine O'Hara was one of the names that he first thought of, so he had
Right.
it.
4.
So we know at this
3,
point, going back and rewatching the
Second
match, looking and watching, we know
Who
that
voices
he knows Catherine O'Hara at this point, and he's utilizing
Sally,
his GTEs
Jack's love
to
interest
completely
in The
extend
Nightmare
that time
Before
to
Christmas.
do exactly what he does when he talks about it in the post match. Go
He
through it,
does.
make
Tell-
sure that
he
it's not someone else that he's thinking of. Just really
5,
trying to
4,
double check his work.
So he's looking up,
Last
actually, like you can see him looking
Who
up, and
voices
that's actually a
Sally,
tell that someone is
Jack's
not.
love interest.
They're not like
in
looking for an
Nightmare
answer. They
Before
know the
Christmas.
answer. They're just they're lying basically. Like he's lying that he's thinking about this answer that he doesn't know, and he's trying to like figure it out. He knows it, and then he's like, and he's waiting to say it. Like he's
That's kind of my thing. Like that's what I mean with it. Like it's
That's correct.
And he also, the way he says it, like
Again,
he said it like he
White
knew it. He's
using
an animated
all
guy.
the
He loves
JT
animated
rules,
movies.
hits
Animated
it.
are his
What a
forte.
moment there by
Like,
James.
I
okay,
do-
pause it really quickly because I have a question. Now, in my opinion, and this is so my question was about rules about sudden death. So at this point, James White hits his 5-point question. If Frank Moran hits his 3-point and misses his 5-point, it's 18-18. They go to sudden death. What
Right.
are the rules? Please remind me. What are the damn rules for JTEs going into sudden
they
death?
all get reset to 1. It happened in
One
it happened in
JT.
the Roca versus Irwin match because Roca had two JTEs left when they went into sudden death. It got put to 1. And Ethan Irwin had none. He got an extra one. And
Right.
I was saying that that's not really. I don't think that's fair, but it is what it is. And
It's
James
kind of
White knew it.
controversial, but
I knew that there was something with the GTE rules going
Yeah.
into
So him
going.
using all of his JT rules there was fine because he
which
knew
is why what he
no
should have
one
done.
could end
Yeah.
up with one
Yeah.
sudden death.
And I
Well,
honestly
maybe
think that he definitely was using it to confirm a lot of things in his head. It wasn't like a definitive. Like I think he knew the name right away, but I think he was kind of like crossing things out in his mind, like because Catherine O'Hara, like I said, is one of his names. You're kind of like make sure that's the right one. Make sure there's not this because he seemed like he was a little bit of.
I think he knew he was going to say Catherine O'Hara from the moment that question's asked. Like whether it's right or wrong, that's the answer he was going to go with.
Right. It could be. It could be either way. I don't think
He's
it was
checking his shopping list.
That's what it is. I don't think he was like doing it. I don't think he was doing it for drama.
I need a little guacamole. That's for la gente. Guacamole, tu sabes. Lo
Well,
mejor.
I mean, James definitely was invited on here.
But he's playing baseball.
You're being mean. That's me being mean. I'm sorry, James. You have a
He had a
baseball.
T-ball game he couldn't miss or something. We don't know. He was playing some tiddlywinks.
He actually, it's funny enough. He DM'd me earlier on. He was like, I might be able to do it because like he showed me a picture of where he lives and it was raining buckets. So it was like, I can't see it being played. But I guess it's like when you know softball or baseball scheduling as far as that goes, they didn't have any rain games left. So scheduling actually matters more than the actual weather. They couldn't do it. So they're going to do everything they can to get the game in. They said basically, I guess he plays on turf. So it ended up being okay, I guess. But our loss, I guess, it'd be cool to hear. How would like to ask James that question specifically? But
James White has never been on Chill. So
that's true. You're on Chill. That's true. He would have been like Chill Light.
He did ride in my car from Salisbury, Maryland to New York City, which is kind of like being on Chill, but you know.
But this was kind of like a sports moment. It has that kind of sports energy to it. You know what I'm saying? Like it had this like moment where like it was like Christian even or Mark even says it later on. Like Bob and the 9 2 outs, kind of like that last minute like.
Also, he got a sports question for his 2-point question. He got another sports movie in his
a Disney movie
3-point question.
Right.
And then his 5-point question is animated, which he loves animated. Like that's how you go from being down 5 to having a chance to win.
Right.
You know, in round 3.
So I can't remember myself when I feel like I thought somebody was out of it completely and they come back like this. I can't remember the last time I felt like
I thought Dan Murrell was out of it in Atlanta. I thought it was over. I thought I was like scheduling the victory parade, like the lights were bright, like you know, and then that traitor had to lose like a chump, and I'll never back him ever again. Moving on.
I was definitely caught by surprise. I can't speak words. I was caught by surprise at this because I still, as I was watching this, you all know me. I'm not a big fan of that fake out moment. I've never been a fan of it. So that was the only thing that was going on in my brain. But as soon as he answered that question, y'all, I literally jumped up off my bed. Like I haven't done that for a Schmoedown match in a long time. Like and it's not that we haven't had great games. We haven't seen a comeback like this in such a long time. I haven't had that oh shit, this is the match feeling in so long, and I'm so happy that we got this for a play-in match. So that was a lot of fun for me. So big shout out to James for allowing me to have a lot of fun watching the Schmoedown match. But going into
and by that, I should want to point out, like, specifically from a comeback standpoint, because a lot of times we've had a lot of these kind of cool, awesome matches, like, especially in the tourneys. We've had, like, the Star Wars matches, which were back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Some of those matches like that, the IGN match had some moments like that. But as far as a true comeback goes like that, I agree. This is, like, one of the first times in a long time. It's like, wow, this is actually making games.
Kalinowski coming back to beat Rachel. Like, that's as long ago that we've had such a big comeback.
Yeah.
I think Merle was down 7, right? Wasn't he down, or was he down 5?
And a 5-point match, so it makes it a little bit more, but he definitely was down for a little
bit.
Well,
last round, he was down 5, so it's about the same.
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we jump ahead to Frank's 5-point question now, and it's more in James's wheelhouse than it is Frank's wheelhouse because he gets a Disney question.
Yay!
I'm gonna get that up there again. Hold on a second. There you go.
Did you all know the answer?
In 2009's The Princess
I did not.
And the
I forgot.
Frog,
I kind of like I know it. I did not know the answer to this one. Yeah.
End of the film.
I knew Frank wasn't right when he said it. That's about it.
Did you know it, Billy?
5.
No, I didn't. Cartoons are trash.
3. 2. Second one.
Phil is a MO.
The question in the world of Disney movies. In 2009,
Billy and I will
The
fight
Princess
to
and
the
the
death
Frog.
over
What is the
this.
name of Tiana's restaurant?
But the
at
thing is,
end
like,
of the film?
I thought he should have hit his 3-point question. Like,
Yeah.
also to not answer his 3-point question kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. Like, I think maybe that's the new, like, being a new competitor, like, because he doesn't give an answer. Like,
5.
just
Right.
name two
4.
movies that
3.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Lawrence has been. She's been nominated for like half the movies she's been in. So guess two.
James.
Also, as a Schmoedown competitor, everyone should know American Hustle because that's the movie. The last time that a movie was nominated for the 4 acting awards and didn't win any of them. It's a very like trivia-based style of movie. So American Hustle immediately, and then Joy, you just guess and you get it right, and you move on. And now we go to Sudden Death, and you don't have to worry about Disney movies, trash cartoons, and the world is all safe.
All right. First of all, The Princess and the Frog is a fucking beautiful movie. It's a great Disney movie, and it. You know, I feel with you have to listen to Frank's answer in that question. He knows that this movie is set in Louisiana because it's Creole Kitchen is the answer that he uses. So if this wasn't a movie that he was somewhat familiar with, he would have guessed something completely different. But he guessed it in something that he definitely took a guess that was
what's the actual answer?
Something. Tiana's Palace.
Tiana's Palace. Okay.
Tiana's Palace.
At the beginning of the movie, she wants to name it Tiana's Place, and then she turns into a princess, and then it's Tiana's Palace.
A trash cartoon.
I'll be right back.
Wow. She just dropped her mic.
The only cartoon that's any good is The Land Before Time and the first 20 minutes of Up, and that's it. Nothing else. No other cartoon has ever been made. They're all trash. I could spend 20 minutes. I'll tell you why Into the Spider-Verse is one of the most boring movies I've ever watched in my entire life.
No. Let's get this negativity off.
On from that. That's another episode. That's different.
You're gonna get canceled, Billy. You're gonna get canceled.
Shout out to Danny for wearing a Schrute Farms t-shirt. I'm usually the one that rocks the Office t-shirts here on the call to action. Today is Danny's day.
I can't get that tall. Sorry.
La finca de white. Tú sabes, combetes.
So,
well, there we are.
Back to the match really quickly. So the big surprise on that, James pulls that win, gets to move on into the tournament. I'm bummed because Swag is out. Swag is out one competitor, and you all
14 more competitors in the tournament. What do they need? They don't need a play-in match. Why'd they even get a competitor in a play-in match? They got half of Swags in the tournament.
No, that's not true. But
there we go. We should talk about it real quickly.
They got swag drip. They just didn't get the second drip. Sorry.
Damn it.
James is gonna face. Well, before we do that, actually, just throw this up there first. Actually, think about it. We got stats from Meg, a great statistician. She
best stats in the game. Best stat person in the Schmoedown.
Yes,
Meggy Numbers is the best.
No one else has that nickname, right?
Best statistician in the Schmoedown.
Sounds like a good nickname for that person. Meggy Numbers. I never heard that. Numbers. Frank, it's all good. These are interesting stuff. Let me see if I can get that. Let's see if I can read that.
Frank's not a numbers guy anymore. He's just there to stir the pot from every faction before their matches by telling them how bad their stats are.
Oh my goodness.
So Frank Moran had a 70.6% accuracy, and James had a 62.5% accuracy, and yet James wins.
Mm-hmm.
How interesting is that?
8% higher accuracy, and you lose. That's the difference between round 1 and round 3.
Right?
Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
You can't win it in round 1, but apparently you can't lose it either because James tried real hard to lose it in round 1.
He did. He did his best, he'll say, and he'll admit it too. He admitted he had a completely rough first round, but sometimes I guess it's a good thing to say, like, hey, never say die. Never say die.
You get 15 points in round 3, right? That's what 10 points in round 3.
Yep.
So you get 10 points right there. The other guy gets 2 points. That's the 8 points that makes it up, and you win the game. Like
it's 8 points in round 2. There's 4 questions.
No, I mean round 3. In round 3, he gets 10 points. In round, and the other guy gets 2 points. That's 8 points. You're gonna win. Like
Party J, super chat. Here's to make it up to you, PLD. Totally unnecessary. Just busted balls. I love you, Party
Make what
J.
of the ball?
He said earlier.
The ball's trash. That's true. Yes, there you go. That's facts. It's all true statements.
He said he felt bad. It's okay.
Don't ever feel bad about trashing Paul. All right, I've been doing it for 2 years.
Feel bad about
it's literally listed like on my hobbies and on my resume. They're like, what are your hobbies? Trashing Paul, Lorenzo DiNuzzo.
you do a good job at it. I'll give you that credit. You're definitely an A for effort in that one. So
A for effort.
as always, part of Jay.
Son.
All right, but anyway, so now let's talk about the next match then for James. Now he has to go up. He wins that game, gets a great comeback, and his reward is to face William the Beast Bibiani.
Yes.
I mean, he's
Congratulations.
a number 2 draft pick, so you gotta like show your worth right now. You're a number 2 draft pick. You were drafted in the 2nd round. Like
that's true. So you got to make you got to prove that yourself is worthy. But this is definitely going to be a big challenge for him. I'm hoping for James' sake, I'm hoping that kind of like the first round might have been like a little bit of like his debut match, trying to get into the groove of things. I mean, it's not under the lights like in the studios, but still kind of facing Christian and Mark, giving you the questions. You're in that kind of different thing. It's a little bit of a.
This is great for him because even if he could have gone perfect in this match, and people still would have thought he couldn't beat William Bibiani, right?
That's true.
I don't care if you go
Very
perfect or not. You still expect the Beast to win. Now, after this, they'll expect the Beast to TKO him at the end of round 1 somehow.
Potentially, correctly.
Somehow the match will end at the end of round 1. And now if he has a good round 1, that's when now it's in the back of the Beast's head, like, wait, maybe this guy knows more than he actually does. And then if you spin your category round 2, we've seen William the Beast Bibiani struggle sometimes in round 3. So if you can keep it close, maybe even take a lead in round and heading into round 3, you still have a shot. You know, anybody has a shot if you're close in round 3. And that's
you really do.
5 point. If it's if they force somebody to answer a 5-point question, that's all you want to do. Like,
yeah, and that's what it is. And he has momentum. And the Beast can definitely get into his own head sometimes. I mean, you've seen him struggle.
The Beast played
a long time.
He's playing this week though, right?
That's true. He is playing this weekend.
So he'll have that to knock off.
Although this match might have already been taped because they've been taping round 1 matches. So this match
is live, right? The team's match is live.
I'm pretty sure the team match is a live pay-per-view match. So
it has to be live because they just won last week live. So
right, exactly. So I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this match was actually already taped. So if this was actually the Beast's first match back
here, like.
So we'll never know. Well, you have to run the game tape tomorrow, see how he's acting tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
I'll have to see. Either way, it should be interesting to see. So, the dog coming on. We have to. We're stooping to the level of dogs equal ratings.
Mira, perrito. Hola.
Aww.
He needs a haircut so bad. He's a hot mess.
That is a ball of fur right there. I love how he does not like being picked up.
He is a dust mop and a half. You just attach a handle to him, and you can dust that whole hardwood floors. They love it.
Yeah, I'm done, mommy. I give you a kiss. I'm done. I'm done, mommy. I'm done. I'm done. So.
Throw him on the.
Does he have a TikTok? You're gonna name his TikTok later in the.
There you go.
Follow him on TikTok.
What?
All right,
people get their dogs TikToks and Instagrams and stuff.
Yeah.
Your dog have a higher social media game than you. What are you doing?
No, right? No, I almost made Prince an Instagram a long time ago. He actually did have one, but I'm not.
Oh boy.
I'm not that dog mom. I'm not a mom.
That dog? What are you doing? You're not doing it right. Why would you get a dog?
I know, right?
Companionship, love,
exploit them for social media.
Santa Claus and other made-up things.
Who the hell does that?
His birthday was on Sunday. He's 9.
You do have the doggies in the chat. That's true. Dog was in the chat.
That's my babies. Okay.
What's up, Joe? Quiz show.
Duppy. Quiz show. 1,000,000% on this.
Probably had 1,000,000%.
Probably didn't miss a question. Probably would have TKO'd them both.
I will say, Quiz show and Brandon Buckingham have been doing their own reactions also at other places. I like Quiz show and Buck a lot. They're good. They're good twosome. So give them a like and a subscribe as well.
Let's finish up the play along. So there we go. I don't know if he doesn't like Nora Ephron or Frances McDormand. So
that's true.
That's the weirdest 2 round 2 categories. Who would ever thought in the Schmoedown that we'd have the 2 round 2 categories of Frances McDormand and Nora
Ephron.
Wow, how great.
We're expanding.
We're
expanding, and it's good for the league. It's definitely good for the league. It brings more players in there, more audience in that way. It's great. It's great. So
I mean, it does you have to have a much broader knowledge. Round 2 is important. You can lose in round 2. Like We said you can't lose in round 1. You can lose in round 2.
You can lose in round 2. That's
You
absolutely
get
true.
knocked out at the end of round 2. We've seen it before. So
That's why it's all about the match. It's all about the wheel spins at that point, obviously. So, all right, Dan. Anything else we gotta say?
oh, he's playing along to today's match. That's what he's playing.
Oh, that's yeah.
He already played along to this last one.
No, that's all that I have on my notes. I am very upset that we didn't put up the Winston in shorts clip.
That's as you like. I could put it.
Not
on.
only in shorts, like not even like okay, he's in shorts, like full on like showing off the short. Like here's my leg, like equal to my head.
We all know that Call to Action loves the gams.
Certain sections of Call to Action love the games.
Most of them.
I did like Kate's like advice of just look at me. Don't look at
him.
Where are they? Where are they? There they are. I'll give the short. There's the shorts.
There you go.
Luckily, it didn't go too much shorter, or else something else would have been dripping out of the shorts. But that's where we are.
He's excited for the show because he's wearing those shorts, and there you go.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Danny,
That's me doing
play us out, Danny. All right, Billy, where can we find you, Billy?
You can find me at Mr. Billy Belford. Spouting off about how awesome I am and how all cartoons are trash. And that's it. That's about it. You can find me on Facebook too, but I ignore most people on Facebook, so better Twitter.
Gotcha. All right, there you go. Danny, want to promote stuff for the week? Anything else you want to promote for the week? We had
So tomorrow we have another reaction breakdown. Tomorrow we will be reacting. Myself and Miss Alex Mack will be reacting to the Muddy Soul and Bonnie Somerville match. We're gonna break that down. At the moment, I can't think of the time, but we'll get that up to you at some point. Paul will tell us at some point. And
I will tell you right now that the schedule, as long as the schedule wasn't changed, it should be before the pay-per-view match. It should be about 2:00 Pacific. I'm assuming that's what I believe it was, unless things have changed. So keep that subscribe clicked and everything else. Thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll get that out to you guys. I believe Marisol is going to be on. I believe she's going to be a special guest. I believe, correct?
I did not see any confirmation on that. I know we put the feeler out, but if there was confirmation at any time between the last time that I saw it to now, then possibly. But I'm not too sure about that.
Oh, we'll find out. Stay tuned to find out.
So we'll find out.
That's why you should like and subscribe to our Twitters and our YouTubes and all that stuff, because that's where you get the information from, son, about who's going to be appearing on Call to Action. You never know who it could be. Maybe it's Marisol McKee. Maybe it's the Gator White. Who knows?
Well, either way, man. Either way. All right, here we go. Of course, tomorrow we have the
I wasn't done.
Oh, looking. And else you gotta go ahead,
done, Paul. Jeez.
All right, Danny, go ahead. I thought you were leading.
Gosh, Paul.
No.
You interrupted her, Paul.
Sorry. All right, yeah.
And then Saturday we have another breakdown going on where we will be breaking down last week's matches against the Pride. No, I'm sorry, not the Pride. Was it the Pride? No.
It was the Pride versus Final Exam.
Yes.
And
Pride. That's right. And we will be having Lon Harris on for that match. So Lon's going to be joining us while we break that down. And then right after that, about 30 minutes to an hour after that, we will be doing the breakdown for the Smets and Chandru match. And Billy Belford will be there with me for both of those. And I think it's still kind of up in the air who else is going to be with us on Saturday. But that's what we have going on for the breakdowns for the rest of the week. And then, of course, you know me. It's your girl, Danny Joy here. You can find me here on the Call to Action Network every Monday, hosting Chill to Action with my favorite co-host, not today, Mr. Paul DiNuzzo. You can also find me on Twitter at DannyJoy, DANIEJOY, and all of that good, great stuff.
Danny just broke my heart.
Now I'm done, Paul. Now you can plug yourself.
It's just because it's just
delinquent, or are we getting Lon Harris? That's the question I want to know.
Real question.
I'll take either one. I'm happy with either one. Maybe both. Maybe he'll slip in and out.
I don't know if Lon's going to be too sure on that one, to be honest with you. You never know what he's going to do, but although I do think the delinquent is closer to Lon's real life character than the professor was.
The delinquent is like the Lon that he always like. It's who Lon always wished he could just be. Like without, like, having a. I mean, we all want to be that guy, like not giving a shit about anything, and like
Right.
who cares where I'm living, which woods I'm living in currently, / Schmoedown competitor's apartment I'm currently living in, things like
He's
that.
living his best life right now.
Clearly.
That definitely happened. We're definitely going to reach out to Marisol, Lady Justice, James, the Wizard Away. We're all going to try to have them all on Chill at some point very soon. But I should announce our Chill since we didn't get to announce it last week. We had a couple of things in the iron. We got some things still going on fire-wise. We do have it solidified now. We are going to have Andres Galgo, as you saw on our previous breakdown. He's going to make his appearance on Chill. We're going to talk a lot about his interesting stuff he does in real life. As well as stuff of course, a good friend of Eric Rodriguez, Nerd Chronic. So that should be a very good Chill episode. Please watch that on Monday at 8:15 Pacific. Andres is a great guy in general. He's a really, really good guy and really smart guy too. He's had a lot of great talks with him, knowledge about films and everything else. So I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. So, and then you can find me at @DiNuzzo on Twitter. That's all we go. All right, guys. So that's
follow the Call to Action podcast on Twitter as well.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, and of course we are on audio as well. Occasionally, we're trying to get everything up on audio still. So keep going to that. Anywhere you go to podcast, Call to Action podcast.
It sounds real good on Spotify.
That sounds good, especially
Joe Rogan on Spotify. It's
Billy speaking Spanish on audio sounds even better than watching him. I gotta tell you.
Tú sabes, huevón, tú sabes. Mira.
There you go. Play us out there, LFA and Dan.